morning, guys. I'm gonna check my sound, make sure everything's working. I know we might end up having a few less people this morning because I had to move our normal time around, but thank you guys for coming on in and hanging out with me this morning. This morning's going to be a little, we'll call it a playtime, a little comparison contrast situation. So I'm super excited, and for those of you that are watching the replay, welcome. So this morning we're going to have a little playtime, like I said. I've gotten a lot of questions about using the distress crayons on your gel press plate. So I thought this morning we could do a little playtime, a little comparison contrast between all of the options that I have of water-soluble crayon. So that's basically what a distress crayon is. It is wax-based, but the way it's made, the science has it to where it will be able to dissolve once you add water to it. But I have a few other options too that work similarly. So I've got NeoColors, which look almost exactly just like crayons. And then I also have some gelatos that kind of look like lippy stick. So they're in like a little tube like this. Now, in full disclosure, I have not used these gelatos in a while, so I'm hoping they will still work. I guess we will find out. Well, that one still seems okay. But they're all manufactured to work similarly, that's a very hard word to say. But they're all made to be able to dissipate and be able to move around once you add water to them. So I thought it would be fun to let's figure out what we like best, and everyone might end up with their own opinion, but I thought it would be fun to try. So let's start with, hey there, Ellen. Let's start with what they look like. So I actually just bought these. I just got them last week. I actually did not have any, so I thought, well, this would be a good video so we could kind of all play around. So if you, oh, I hope that was supposed to come off there because I just did. But I can't get this package open. There we go. Oh, I think that was supposed to stay there. My bad. So this is the second set. So it is the Distress Crayons 2. I really wanted the bright ones, but they didn't have them when I went to buy them. So we had to go with this, which is a fine color combo. It's just not my fave. All right. And they look, if you're not familiar with them, they look like this. And they have a little spinny situation here to kind of pump up the product. Let's see how far it'll go. Okay, so you get about that much with this one. Let's find a red over here in the gelato. So I have a, well, hopefully I have a red that's not the big fat red. Oh, here we go. So this is so the gelato comes in two sizes. They come in this little one, which is a single size, and then they come in what they call the double scoop, and so it's a little thicker. So let's do the little test here. Give it a little, how far, okay, so that's how far up that one goes. And then let's find NeoColor Red. Boom, that one's easy because you don't have to do anything to it. So you can see just by looking at them that NeoColor is great from an aspect, especially if you're environmentally conscious, because you don't have to deal with any plastic waste when you're done. If you're looking at these two side by side, even though the Distress Crayon seems to be bigger because it's taller, if you look at the diameter, the gelato is quite a bit thicker. So that's kind of the just the physical breakdown. I did do a cost comparison because I'm a total nerd when it comes to that kind of thing. And just looking at them, so I made a little thing here. You probably can't see that very good. So just looking at them, the Distress Crayons, if you buy them individually, the Distress Crayons if you buy them individually are $2.49 a piece. The gelatos, if you buy them individually, are $2.45. And the NeoColors are $2.25. So price comparisons, they're very similar. However, unless you choose to buy them in like a big set, so just kind of the way I bought mine, if I bought the distress crayons, and they were 6 for $12.99, so $2.16 a piece. Gelatos, if you buy them in a set of 15, it drops them down to only $1.16 a piece. And NeoColors, if you buy them in a set of 10, it drops them to $1.58 a piece. So price-wise, if you get a set of the gelatos and the NeoColors, you're actually saving quite a bit. There's not that big of a difference buying the distress inks or the distress crayons in individual versus the set. So that's the money breakdown, and I'll put these numbers in the comments when we're done so that you guys can kind of have those just for your records to kind of look back on and that kind of thing. So we're going to be playing with just a couple of techniques to kind of just get an idea of which one goes on the easiest, which one has the best color payload, and that kind of stuff. And so I thought it would just be fun to just kind of see what we like. And if you guys have used any of these, feel free to throw it in the comments. Let us know what your favorites are. And let's try this out. So I have seen a few people that will literally take their distress crayons and rub it directly on their gel press plate. I tend not to like that. And here's why. The wax portion tends to really adhere to, hey there, and the wax portion really tends to adhere to the gel press plate, and I feel like you don't get as much color payload or color payoff as you do if you pre-wet your page. So we're gonna go with the pre-wet technique. If you've done it the other way and you like it, good on you. I just have not been a super fan of trying that particular technique in the past. So we're gonna start with just kind of what would be considered a basic technique. So we're going to take our little handy dandy water bottle, and apparently I can't spell because I added an L at the end of water and I don't know why. And we're just going to lightly spray our plate. It doesn't have to be drenched, but you want enough water that it's going to start to activate your crayons. So like I said, I've never used distress crayons before, so let's see what we think. So I'm just doing kind of a scribbly technique to kind of get the, I swear it's coming off, you just can't really see it. So I'm kind of turning it as I go, because since it is new, I'm assuming it probably has like a protective film on it, like a lot of gelatos and stuff do. So I'm just kind of giving it just kind of a swirly around our plate here. And this is the Festive Berries color. And just for contrast, we're going to also go in with the, I'm going to guess, Chipped Sapphire. Yeah, that's an old color. And this technique is super great for making really easy kind of watercolor backgrounds because it, I don't know. I have too much of a control freak in me to do watercolors, because a lot of times doing those really beautiful watercolor backgrounds requires some semblance of letting go, and I'm not super great at that. I'm going to wet that just a little bit more. And since we're just having playtime, I'm just using regular digital copy paper, not even anything fancy, because I wanted to really just go with what the product does and not necessarily what the paper does. So let's see how that worked. I will say it felt really hard, and maybe you guys, if you have these, you've dealt with this. It felt really hard to get the colors to start moving. It was really weird, like to get the color flowing. Okay, so we're gonna write a little, I'm gonna write a little note on that so I don't forget later. So this is our distress crayons. I mean, and it's okay. It's kind of, well, it's there. The color is there. I'm gonna turn my brightness down just a smidge. I feel like it's washing things out a little bit. There we go. All right, so let's try NeoColors. And I'm going to do the exact same color. So I'm going to find something that's similar to Festive Berry and a color that is similar to the Chip Sapphire. So those are kind of in the same color realm as the colors we tried. Oh, so this is actually just a piece of acrylic that I have a few of them for my various size gel plates. These are being funky. You can get them in a couple of places. I'm trying to find my other sizes for you. And they're super handy for kind of being able to maneuver your plates. This particular one is, I believe, I can't remember. So I get them one of two places. You can get them from a company called Joggles that sells them. However, my preferred place to go is actually, I think this is Joggles just based on the thickness of it. So Joggles, JOGGLES.com. And so she sells them in a variety of different sizes. Most of mine, like these, actually come from a place called, like it's Lowe's. I'm not sure why I said a place called. And what's great about these is these are, you can get an 8x10 for right around $4, and they will actually cut it to the sizes you need. So I was able to make all sorts of different sizes for my different size plates, or to use with my, let me grab this, to use with my larger stamps. So they're super great and super inexpensive compared to a lot of places. So yeah, Lowe's is my go-to. Home Depot might have something, I'm not sure. But like I said, mine are from Lowe's and they're super great. Hey there! Welcome guys that are coming in. For those of you that are just jumping in, we are doing a little comparison, contrasting between our distress crayons with our NeoColors and our gelatos. Since they're all very similar products, we thought it would be fun to see what is going to work best on our gel press plate. All right, so we did our distress crayons. So those of you, let's check that out. So that is the distress crayons. So then let's do the same thing. We're going to pre-wet our plate. And we're going to go in with our NeoColors. NeoColors are probably the first, let's say fancy, I don't know what else to call it, the first fancy, sorry, I'm trying to peel the paper back and stuff, art supply I ever bought myself. Need a little more water on that side. I find them super easy to work with because you can do something like this where you're wetting the surface and then working with them, or you can actually take a wet paintbrush and dab it to the tip if you're wanting to be like a little bit more precise with your color placement. And they come in big sets, small sets. You can buy individual colors. I think when I first did it, I kind of did just I wanted to try a bunch of different things, so I bought just a few individual colors that kind of fit my wheelhouse, and then once I was like, yes, I like this, I think it would be cool, then I went in and purchased a big set. And if you were there here at the beginning, you know, the big set saves you, not even a big set, it's like 10 NeoColors, but it almost halves the price to buy the NeoColors in a set. All right, we're going to douse that with a little bit more water. You can even tell just right off the bat how much richer the color is than the distress crayons. And they're all manufactured to be the same thing. They're all manufactured to be water-soluble crayons. And y'all look, I actually painted my nails. Aren't they pretty? Sorry, squirrel. All right, let's see if these two. Oh yeah, color payoff is much better. So let's put the two side by side. So same technique, same colors, but NeoColor versus distress crayons. I mean, I'm not gonna declare a winner yet, but that makes me happy. All right, so let's try our gelatos. Oh, you know what, let me write on this so we remember later. So this is the NeoColors. Awesome. I'm gonna set that aside. All right, so let me grab my gelatos. Where'd they go? There they are. Not sure why I'm using red and blue. I'm like, those aren't even my usual color wheelhouse kind of colors. Where's the pinks? Where's the turquoises? All right, so we're gonna do the exact same thing. I got a pink, I've got a red and a blue again. So I have a bunch of Faber Castells. I haven't really used them in a while. I was on their guest design team years ago. I will say they do disintegrate or start to incorporate into the water faster than the NeoColors and the Distress crayons. I think because the NeoColors have a higher wax content, so it takes a little bit longer for that water to penetrate into the crayon, whereas Faber Castell, it's like, there it is. Hey, Kat, y'all, say hi to Kat Kerr. She is on our gel press team, and she and I were roomies. Oh my gosh, how many years ago is that? 2 years ago at CHA. I haven't used these in a while, so I'm wondering if this is, I might have to use a different color blue. And so she is fabulous. If you guys have checked out our gel press YouTube, she is the one who made the pumpkin pie dessert out of gel press prints, and it is amazing and yummy and fabulous, so go check that out. It's super cool. All right, so we've used the gelatos, and we've done the same technique, so let's see what the gelatos do compared to our NeoColors and our Distress crayons. Kat, today we are doing just kind of a little compare contrast demo of Distress crayons versus gelatos versus NeoColors, just to kind of see what we like best before we go and spend our hard-earned money on any of these. So we did our NeoColors, we did our Distress crayons, and I'm already getting dirty hands. And I'm going to have lunch with my best friend later, so she's used to it. Okay, so this is our gelatos. As you can see, even by wetting them again, the gelatos don't quite move around the page as much as, like, say, the NeoColors. Gelatos. Okay, so let's look at all three of them together. So this is our Distress crayons. This is our NeoColors. And then this is our gelatos. So you can kind of get a really good sense of if you're going for that watercolor background technique. It really depends on kind of what you're going for. If you're going for a color payout and a vibrancy, I mean, it's kind of no contest. It does kind of like cotton candy, doesn't it? That's funny. You can see there's almost no contest with, bless this heart, this over here. It just, I feel like it doesn't have as much color payout as the NeoColors and the gelatos. From a technique, ease of use standpoint, I definitely feel like the gelatos are easier to work with. I feel like they begin to work faster. So let's try a couple of other techniques, but keep these kind of in your mind. And let's see what else we can do. All right. I'm going to skedoodle across the room real quick and grab my stencils and see. Let's try a stencil watercolor kind of technique. We'll go with one of my faves. This is, if you guys know, this is one of my favorite stencils. I'm not really sure why, it just is. All right, so let's try some different colors. Let's go purple and blue for this one. So let's find purple. Oh, we'll do the same purple and blue for there. We'll keep that blue. Here we go. Boom. Nope, Green, get back in there. We're not playing with you yet. All right, let's move those out of the way. All right, so we've got a purple, and a blue from each of the sets. So let's try it with a little stencil action and see what we think. We're gonna do the same technique and try it and see what kind of stencil look we can get. So again, we're going to take our purple. This one, if you want the exact color, is called Seedless Preserves, which, by the way, speaking of purples, if you have not gotten the, I might be saying it wrong, so tell me if I'm wrong, the Villainous Purple, or the Villainous Potion, which is the new Distress ink color, or Distress color. It is amazeballs yummy and awesome. I got it in the stain, and I got it in the Distress Oxide. And I had my small group over on Friday, and they we were playing and doing some techniques and that kind of stuff, and we played with it. So I'm trying this time to maybe do a little bit extra, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe I didn't give the Distress crayons enough love, and that's why they didn't do a really bright color. So I'm giving it some serious scribbly action in hopes to get a little bit brighter of a color. We'll see. We shall see. Scribble, scribble, scribble. There's something fun about doing this technique too, because I mean, you're just scribbling like a kid, and we're like, who doesn't love being a kid? I mean, what's that one? Adulting is a trap. Anybody else feel that? I do. All right, so then we're gonna take our stencil. We're gonna plop it right on top, and let's see how this watercolor technique does with a stencil. We're going to place it right there. And of course with the stencil, we're going to give it a nice little press. And because of that, the fancy word is durometer. Because of the durometer, basically just means how squishy the gel press plate is. It's going to actually pop up through that stencil just a little bit, so that we get a nice, hopefully crispy image. I don't know. I've never done this before. We're going to find out together. Let's do a little peekaboo. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, that's cool. Okay, so another part of the experiment. It seems like it takes a lot longer of working with the Distress crayons to get a good color payout. So you can see, let me find the other one. You could see by adding that little extra time, a few extra little times around, giving it a little bit more love, we definitely get a better color payout by going that little bit of an extra mile with them. Still not as bright, I feel, as some of the other colors, but definitely better. So let's take our stencil off. And I did that little rundown of the price earlier, and I'll put that in the group so you guys can kind of just be able to make just a more educated decision based off of what you like the most. Oh, that was kind of fun. So that's the leftovers off the print, or off the stencil. And then let's just clean our plate a little bit. Give it a nice little rub, just clean off all that stuff. Oh, y'all, look at that. That's super fun too. I'm like, love that. So that was just kind of the leave-ins that we had on our plate. Yay. Oh, let me make sure to write on here. So this is Distress Crayons with the stencil. Not that I wouldn't remember that, but I'm going to write it anyway. And then this is Distress Crayons Ghost Print. Cool. Well, that's cool. Cool, cool. All right, so let's try that same technique with some of our other options. So we're going to re-wet our plate here. And what do we do first? We did NeoColor, so let's do those. Give it a nice little And you can even see just from the beginning how much more color saturation you get from using the NeoColors. All right, let's add our blue. This is a great thing for kids too because it doesn't require them being super specific. It literally is just very scribbly and just fun. And you end up with just beautiful prints. You can add stencils. You can not add stencils, but okay, make sure. There we go. Okay, let's try our stencil again. Place it right over top. Grab some paper. And give that a try. Again, give it a nice little squishy press. Again, give it a nice little squishy press. And you'll notice that even though I'm using just regular copy paper, because I'm using one that's just a little thicker, it's a 28-pound digital copy paper, so it has a very smooth finish. But even though I'm using quite a bit of water, I'm not getting a ton of bleed through. You can see just a little bit here and there. So it's a really good product to use for your playtime. Ooh, now see, let's look at the color difference again. So again, NeoColors, if you're going for color payout, I mean, try not to be biased, but all the tests are coming back that I might be biased. Okay, so let's write that is NeoColor with a stencil. And let's clean our stencil off. Now, one reason a lot of people tend to really love the distress crayons is because, number one, they love the Tim Holtz in general, but they like the idea of being able to have multiple products in multiple colors. Oh, thank you for buying my Faith Impressions kit. That's super sweet. Yes, I was so happy when Gel Press was like, hey, let's just do a really good coupon for the conference. And I was like, yes, all the stuff. We love coupons. All right, let's see what the ghost print looks like on this one. Okay. I definitely feel like that maybe, I'm not really sure why, but the NeoColors actually picked up better because this is the ghost print from our Distress Oxide, or not Distress Oxides, our Distress Crayons. So I feel like more stayed on the plate to give us a better image the second time. Hi, welcome. So those of you that might have joined us late, we're doing a little compare contrast situation with 3 types of water-soluble mediums on our gel press plate. NeoColor with stencil ghost print. And just kind of seeing which ones we like, which ones we think work best, which ones make our creative little hearts happy. So let's see. Okay, so we've done our Distress Crayons, we've done our NeoColor, so let's test out our gelatos now. So let's wet that down again. And we've got our purple. Do these even have colors? I don't know. Oh wait, no, there's a color. Okay, this purple says raspberry. When I think raspberry, I think like a magenta pink kind of color. Is that just me? Anybody else? And apparently I'm in the berry family because I've got raspberry and blueberry. So let's give it a nice little scribble, ribble, 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 ribble. Ooh, pardon my sniffles. Y'all, the weather here in Arkansas cannot decide what it wants to do. It was like freeze warning last week, and then yesterday it was like 70. See, raspberries you thought were red. See, I can see even like a reddish color, but this one's purple. This one's obviously purple. I don't know who named that, but I think that would be super fun to be like the person that got to name something. Like there's a guy, his entire job is to name like the OPI nail polish colors. I mean, that sounds like a super fun job. Kind of a stressful job because you got to come up with good ones, but I think that would be fun. All right, let's try this purple. I'm gonna kind of scrape the top a little bit because it's a little vintage. It's a little vintage. Let's see what this does. And something to keep in mind too, I mean, there's price to consider, there is color to consider, but there's even like the environmental factor to consider if you're someone that's very into like environmentally consciousness. I mean, you got to think the distress crayons both have that plastic that I don't see anywhere on anything, and maybe something to look up. Is the plastic recyclable? I can't talk. I don't know. Whereas NeoColors, you don't have to worry about that. So I mean, that's something to think about too. I'm gonna add just a little bit of water to that because it feels like it got very, very dry real fast. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, let's try that one. Let's grab our stencil again. Plopper it down right there. And let's see what this does. I do love the watercolor through the stencil though, because it gives you kind of the best of both worlds. It gives you texture, it gives you a pop of color, it gives you a little bit of white space to kind of break it up. Let's see. Woo. Apparently that extra little bit of water at the end made a big old difference. Look how much, I mean, it's still gorgeous, but you can see it's got that kind of beading in the middle of all of it. I wonder if it happened. Okay, now this is just a test to see. I'm just gonna take over here on the side and just take another piece of paper and plop it on top to dry it a bit so we can get a better idea of the color. So that is the gelatos. Let's do our extra prints here. So on our stencil, then our ghost print, All right, let's see what our ghost print looks like for that. Okay. So let's write on these. This is our gelatos with stencil. And then our gelatos with stencil. And it's the ghost print. So let's take a look at all three of those. So this is our distress crayons, and we learned from doing this that it does require a little bit more elbow grease, a little bit more work to get a good color payout from those. This is our NeoColors, and then this is our gelatos. So for me personally, I tend to be a very bright crafter, if you will. So my eye automatically loves the middle, but the distress crayons aren't bad. I just feel like the color's not as saturated. So we've got distress crayons, NeoColors, and our gelatos with a stencil. All right, let's try one more and see what we can do next. So the next is going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to try a wax resist technique. So I'm actually going to use some acrylic paint for this, and we're going to actually use our crayons to do some doodles and then some So Marilyn, you use distress crayons, is to use them as the first layer and then use that paper to pull a print layer on top. So that's what we're going to try now. That's called a a resist technique. So you can take your crayon, which we're going to take here, and we're going to do it two ways. We're going to just doodle some stars, and hopefully this works. Let's doodly some stars, doodly, doodly. Picasso, I made stars. This is the most B-rated version of Starry Night ever. All right, so let's do something that is going to, something just fell in my kitchen. Hopefully my husband's in there to take care of it. Did you guys hear that? It was very loud. So what should happen is the wax from the crayon should keep, well, maybe this one doesn't want to work. Excuse me. So many paint color options. Let's try this one. So the wax on these should keep the wax from, or the paint from hitting those parts of our print. So yes, this is modern art. That will be $5 million. Because isn't that kind of how modern art works? You look at it and be like, why is that so expensive? I watched I think it was a YouTube video, but they were linking to an article that was about like the most expensive paintings ever sold. I must have a piece of fuzz or something on my brayer because I'm getting these weird little lines or these weird little divots in it. It's kind of weird. Oh well, figure it out later. But yeah, like it was like these huge canvases. I mean, they were huge. I mean, they were probably 4 or 5 feet square, but they were selling for like $50 million. And I'm like, no. I was like, no. All right, so we're going to, if this works the way I saw it on the YouTube, so what we should do is, it did work. So you can see that the places that had the ink or had the wax resisted the places on our gel plate. Not perfectly, but you know, we're all learning today. And when this dries, I'm going to actually go over and wipe away the ink that's on, or the paint that's on top of our little sections there. And it should keep those yellow little prints on there. We'll try it. Let's see. All right. So to lift this up, let's go with this lime green. There we go. Where should I put my, there's my brayer. I was like, where did I put my brayer? I'm going to switch to a different brayer. I guess I might need to clean that one. And I got a new one and I can't find it. I got a little one. I was going to show you guys. I thought I put it over here with all my other brayers, but I cannot find it right now. But I got a cute little, like, oh, there it is. Look, I got a baby one. Isn't it cute? Anyway, I was very excited. This is super great if you're doing multiple colors because it allows you to stay in small spaces. But since we're just doing one color, I'm just going to use this one. But I'm very excited about my fun new little brayer. It's been on my I want list and I finally just bought it. And of course we're doing this the super easy way with just like a single color pull, just to kind of see if we like this technique. So the remnants of our other paint should stick to this color. And I'm going to take a baby wipe here. Well, that's just so we can all see it. So you can see I'm kind of gently just wiping away the paint that was on top of it. And kind of revealing the yellow underneath. And from our, you can also do this with just like regular crayons and then you wouldn't have the color underneath. You would just have the wax part. So that's kind of fun. Again, there's my modern art for you. But you get the best of both worlds. You could do like all your texture, your multicolors in the background, and then have the resist on top and have some kind of drawing and doodles and that kind of stuff in the back. We might try that one again. That was fun. So our little remnants that are left on here. Oh, cool. So that's the paint that was left over. And that is, actually there's a little bit of watercolor left on there. So that's super fun. Cool, cool. Let's try that again with a different color and see if we like this little resist technique. So Marilyn, question, you're saying you use it with embossing powder. Are you saying you stamp your image, emboss it, and then basically use that as like a texture plate kind of situation? Because you, on your paper? So let us know what you mean by that. All right, let's try the same thing with some NeoColors. And I would think, just from knowing what I know, that our NeoColors are going to work the best because they have a higher wax content. So take a print and heat emboss a design with embossing powder and then pull a print and wipe off. Okay, yeah, so it's basically the same thing, only without do I even have embossing powder? Now that you say that, I'm like, I don't think I do. So we're gonna doodle some little funky circles here. And like I said, just speculating, if you will. I'm thinking these are probably gonna be the best, only because the NeoColors have a higher wax content. So I just did some nice little beautiful, beautiful little circlies. And let's see. Let's do this. Actually, let's have fun. Let's do some multicolored. Let's do a multicolored situation. I'm out of my favorite pink, I think. Everybody be sad with me. It's literally just called bright pink. It's my favorite. Let's see how much I can ooch out of it for this. Oh, I guess there's a little bit more left than I thought. I'm going to put some yellow. Boop. And of course, using my favorite folk art multi-surface. Do a little. Come on, green. I just used you. Green, green, green. I think we're going to break out the new one. Going to break out the baby one. Because I want to kind of keep our colors. Whew, the new one, you could tell, is new because it has like a lot more slip to it than like one that's already well loved. So we're gonna kind of, but you can see by having the smaller brayer, you can kind of keep the color. You have just a little more control over the space. Oop. Or not, because I'm just now using this brayer for the first time. And it definitely has a lot more slip to it than the other brayers that are now seasoned. So we're just going to kind of move these colors around. Give it a nice little run through. This brayer is leaving very hard edges. That's not usual. All right, there we go. It's going to be an 80s phenomenon. What do I have over here? Just for giggles, let's go a little crazy. We're going to add some texture. Save that. Then we're going to pull our little print here. Let's see. Oh, well, that's unexpected. This is why we experiment. So I guess because it does have that heavier wax content, the wax actually transferred onto our plate as opposed to just acting as a resist. Food for thought. Wonder if that is because it does have that higher wax content. That is interesting to know. So we could, do we want to do this? I don't know. Nope, don't like that. So that's interesting. So let's see what happens if we add another color on top of this. So now we're all learning together. The math did not work the way I thought it would to do what I thought that would do. The wax, instead of acting as, with the NeoColors, instead of acting as a resist, like I thought it would because of the higher wax content, it actually transferred onto our plate. Yeah, the ghost print will be great if it'll pick it up, so I think this is so fun. Like, I love doing experiments with you guys because it's like, sometimes I'm surprised. Sometimes I mean, I definitely know I don't know everything. I learned that a long time ago. Even if the group that I started scrapbooking with years ago, it's my sister-in-law, it's my mother-in-law, and some friends. We all have nicknames, and my nickname is the Professor. And that's mainly just because for a long time, when I worked in a scrapbook store, I was the manager, and so I kind of knew a little bit about everything. And so they'd always be like, Carrie, what's that brand that blah, 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 blah. And I was the weirdo. So this might, let's see what everybody does. So when I used to scrapbook a lot, you know, everyone has their way of organizing their paper. Shout out if you are a, hey girl, if you are a color organizer or maybe a pattern organizer, whenever I organized my scrapbook paper, because I was so used to thinking of it in these terms, I actually organized my scrapbook paper by manufacturer, because that's just the way my brain understood and how I was dealing with it, or since I was dealing with it so much. So if you were a scrapbooker, throw in the comments how you organized your paper. Let's see if anybody's the same. Well, there you go. So it looks like even our little wax little rings that were down actually pulled up a little bit more of our leftover watercolors that were on there. There you go. That happened. Cool. All right, let's try our gelatos, see what they do. You know, we're just gonna use this color that's right here. So let's try our blue. Ooh, the gelato is very wet from the last time we used it. So they are thicker, so they're not, this technique might not even work with gelatos. So yours are organized by type, when they are organized. I feel you on that one. I feel you on the when they are organized thing. So we're kind of coloring some little stars, color and theme, okay. All right, so those people that do color and theme, is it color and then theme inside of that? Or is it like if it's color dominant, it's color, and then if it's more themed, it's separate? Like, how far does your crazy organization go? If it's like me, not that far. All my paper is literally in one thing, mainly because I don't use it as often. All right, I'm gonna redo this guy. The gelato was a little wet when I did that one, and I feel like we're not gonna give it a fair shot. See if I regret this. I might not. I might. I don't know. We're about to find out. Since I use that blue, we're going to use yellow and see what kind of contrast we can get. I hope you guys are having fun watching me do this as much fun as I am experimenting. Like, sometimes you just never know till you try. And I'm always about trying to figure out ways to save you guys money. And so if you can look at something and go, I know I won't like that, well then you don't have to buy it. And I would rather you not buy something, or have you not buy something that you know you're going to hate, or spend the money and be like, oh, well, that was a waste of money. Gotcha. If it fits in a theme, it doesn't matter what color. Okay. I do keep my, anybody else do that? Marilyn made a good point. She goes, she keeps her scraps I tend to do that too because you never know when you need to just cut out a little die cut or a little bit of this, or you're making like an ATC or a card and you just need something small. Hey there, Valerie! So for those of you that are joining us or watching the replay, we're doing a little experimenting today with 3 types of water-soluble crayons or water-soluble mediums, just to kind of see what we like the best, what we feel is worth our money, and is going to give us what we want. So we're trying a resist technique with gelatos. So, I mean, it didn't resist, but I don't hate it. I mean, it's kind of cool. It gives it almost like a ghost impression because it's lighter on the wax content than other ones. Oh no, I'm cutting in and out. Ah, that's weird. I don't know what's wrong. Hopefully. Sorry. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully it might be me because my computer was being really weirdly slow this morning, so I apologize if it's being weird for you guys. But this is the gelato, so it didn't do the resist technique, and that's because it has a lower wax content than the other ones we've been working with. But you can still make really cool patterns, and it gives kind of a ghosty kind of image to the back. So let's do a ghost print on this and see what it looks like. Let's just go straight pink. And hey. Let's see. Oh no, you have a kiddo home from school today? That's not cool. That just not ruined your whole day, but it really does kind of mess with like your plan for the day when you unexpectedly have a kid that had to stay home from school. You're like, I was gonna play today, or I was gonna do housework, and then you're like, oh, but now I have a kid to take care of. All right. So let's see. Let me get some paper. See what kind of ghost print we'll get from the gelato that's left on there. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of have a favorite just from being here and playing this whole time. Get a nice little rubby rub, see what kind of print we'll get from this. Oh, a little self-promotion. I have a new video up on the YouTube for gel press. I'm going to go grab the project so you guys can see it. Oop. So it is this canvas. And what's cool is these are actually, you can kind of see they're 3D. They're actually coasters, so they're fabric coasters, but they are made using a technique called sublimation, and that's just a fancy word that means that taking a liquid and with heat transforming it to a gas so that it bonds with whatever your surface is. So we partnered with a product line called Artistry. Let's see if I can find them. That's it, yeah. So they are these really cool markers and ink pads and stuff, but they let you basically draw your own images, stamp your own images, and that kind of thing. And then with a regular iron, you can put it on a t-shirt, you can put it on mugs, you can put it on, these are coasters. Now, you do have to use a certain kind, so you have to look for what's called a sublimation blank. But I got these like, I don't know, 12 or 15 on Amazon for like 15 bucks or something. But you can just really cool things. All of this stuff was done by either stamping the image or using the gel press and doing like a watercolor background and then ironing them on. So they're permanent. They're not going to come off. They're not going to fade. And then it's got some stickers on top, some vintage, I think, Illustrated Faith. So if you have time, go check that out today on the Gel Press YouTube. It was super fun to make, and I'm like, I was gonna give it as a gift, but I kind of want to keep it for myself now because I love it. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. So the gelato is hugging the gel press a lot. You can see there is still those stars left on here. Not a lot came up. But I do kind of like this because it's got that little splash of orange on the sides or yellow on the sides, and I don't know. And it's bright pink. I mean, that's super fun. So for me personally, not digging the whole resist technique. I don't really see what the point is. I don't know, that feels like a waste of time. So let's go over what we did and kind of let's make some decisions. You guys can make your own decisions and I'll give you just my point of view. So to start out with, we did just straight distress colors and distress, or all of our colors. Let me move this so we can see a little bit better. All right, so these are our distress crayons, and this is just doing, I know, I like the pink and orange together too. I'm like, I think that's a fun color combo. So this is just taking, these first three we did was just taking the product directly to a wet gel press plate. So you can see this is our distress crayons. This was our NeoColors, and they were all done with reds and blues. And then this was our gelatos. So you can definitely see that the NeoColors and the gelatos definitely not only gave us a bigger color payout, but they seem to move and disperse around the plate just a little bit better than these distress crayons, in my opinion, just based on playing with them. And so, and you can see definitely the colors are brighter. That red just, even though it's supposed to be festive berry, someone mentioned it, it totally just looks like cotton candy pink. It does not even look like festive berry. All right, so then next we went ahead and said, okay, so let's try that same technique, but let's do it with a stencil involved. And then with the distress crayons, we gave it a little bit more love this time, just to kind of get an idea of how much pressure and how much product you need to use. So it definitely came out brighter than the first time. Let's put those side by side. So definitely with the distress crayons, they take a little bit more time working them to get a good color payoff for them, but they're still good. All right, this was our NeoColor with our stencil. Definitely closer in color payoff between the two than it was in the first round. So like I said, those distress crayons obviously just need a little bit more oomph and a little bit more time to work. And then this was our gelatos with the stencil. Again, a little step down, a little paler, and took a little bit more water to kind of get them, make them happy. But I love all of them. I mean, I think they all have merit. So definitely if you have any of them, you can use them. All right, let's look at our ghost prints from this one. So our ghost prints with the distress crayon is this guy. You know what, let me move these so we don't get all confuzzled. So there's our distress crayon ghost print. I definitely feel like the ghost print or the distress crayons did leave us a little bit more to work with on our plate to receive a ghost print than the other ones did. This is our NeoColors. So you can see, we can see the pattern, definitely a little more spotting, so there was more leftover water and medium on there. And then our gelato looked like this. Very similar to our NeoColors. So there's that. And then we kind of just for funsies did the resist technique. I'm not loving the resist technique. I feel like it's pointless, but maybe someone can, hey, if you have a video that you've seen on YouTube or something that you loved, where it showed how to do the resist technique, leave it in the comments because we would love to see it and learn, because that kind of seemed like a big waste of time to me. Okay, so thoughts. Let's go back to price as well. So looking at the price comparison, so The distress crayon prices I got directly from the Ranger.com website, and then the gelatos and the NeoColors actually came from a website called Blick Art Supplies. It's where I get a lot of mine. If you've never been there, really great deals on stuff. So if you buy them singles, the distress crayon singles are $2.49 a piece. If you buy the gelato singles, $2.45, and if you buy the NeoColors, $2.25. So individually, very comparable in price. However, if you buy them in sets, you can really get a much bigger discount on 2 of them. So distress crayons, this is the pack I bought. It had 6 colors. It was 6 for $12.99. So that drops them to $2.16 a piece. So 33-cent difference. However, gelatos, if you buy a pack of 15, it drops them to $1.16 a piece. So that's literally half price by buying in bulk, basically. NeoColors, very similar. It's $2.25 single. If you buy a 10 pack of these, it is $1.58 a piece. So you save 75 cents. I think that's like a third. Yeah, someone mathed that, but I think that's right. So if we look at all of these little guys, for me personally, just from doing this little experiment today, I personally feel like the winner is the NeoColors for numerous reasons. Price-wise, it's great. Color payoff, I think it's the best. Environmentally friendly because you're not dealing with plastic waste, and I think that's awesome. And just from a longevity standpoint, so I've had this set for, I'm going to say 4 to 5 years, and they don't dry out, they don't get gross, any of that kind of stuff. And whereas my Faber Castell, because of the way they're made, even though they're in the plastic, I feel like they've dried out quite a bit, and I've had to kind of, it takes longer to get them working, it takes longer to get through kind of, for lack of a better word, get through the crust on the outside. So there we go. I will put all of this information and some links and stuff in the comments for you guys. But I'd like to hear what you guys think. Check out, oh, you should try your NeoColors. I mean, well, go back and watch them from the beginning. We've had fun. For me personally, NeoColors are the way to go when it comes to environmental friendliness, price, longevity, and color payout and ease of use. So that is the end of my little experiment. But I want to hear from you guys. Throw it in the comments which of these you like, which of them you don't like, which one of them you've used. Maybe you learned something today, or maybe there's another technique I need to try with these water-soluble mediums on our gel press plate. So yeah, throw us some ideas in the comments if you have a video that maybe shows a technique that we need to learn. That would be super awesome too. So thank you guys so much for joining me and being so flexible to do this an hour earlier than usual. And so thank you guys again, and I will post some info here in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the group later. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys.